Hey, it's Maximo. Join me as we take a mid-winter's long weekend away and travel to Mount Macedon, Hepburn Springs and Daylesford. Hi, this is Maximo and welcome to Maximo's Travels. Well, today folks, we have a long weekend away in the Mount Macedon, Daylesford and Hepburn Springs area. It was well into a Melbourne winter and both Joe and I decided it was time to get away for the weekend. We both took Friday off from our respective work and headed off on Friday morning to Mount Macedon. Hepburn Springs is around about 121 kilometres from home and it takes about an hour and 40 minutes to drive there. It's northwest of Melbourne. Our first stop was Mount Macedon. This is only about 67 kilometres and an hour away from the city. Mount Macedon is around about 1,000 kilometres above sea level and the temperature for most of our time there hovered around 4 to 5 degrees Celsius. Not exactly very warm, is it? So we drove along cold, foggy, damp roads to the car park to enable access to the memorial cross and lookouts on Mount Macedon. I'm walking to the entrance of the Memorial Park and the lookout area. It's a balmy 5 degrees Celsius and quite damp and foggy. I think we're above the cloud line. A couple of metres off the path and we find the Major Mitchell lookout. This is quite a small lookout, but it offers stunning views of Mount Macedon hills and valleys. It's a shame it was such an average day because the visibility was quite poor. We made our way to the Memorial Cross. The Memorial Cross was built in 1935 to commemorate the fallen of World War I. It's quite an eerie and moving place to visit, especially in the cloud and the fog. I'll also add a little bit of drone footage to let you see what it looks like on a much nicer day. We were pretty cold and wet and decided to call it a day. We drove down the mountain and headed past the little town of Mount Macedon that is no more than a pub and a bakery, and went to the slightly larger town of Macedon, which was a couple of coffee shops and a small supermarket. We had lunch at the Macedon Lounge and it was a very, very nice lunch indeed. It was quite a cosy, warming cafe Joe had some fish and chips while I had the Cajun chicken, and both were very, very nice. So I'd highly recommend the Macedon Lounge to anyone that was stopping by. We finished up lunch and then drove from Macedon to Daylesford. This trip is around about 49 kilometres between the two towns, and it took us just over 40 minutes to get to Daylesford. The weather had fined up a bit, partly cloudy, but a fair few blue skies, but I don't think the day got very much above 8 degrees Celsius. In hindsight, I guess we could have been a little bit better prepared for this trip. The Daylesford and Hepburn Springs area is around about 600 to 650 metres above sea level, and where we live in Melbourne, it's only about 15 metres above sea level. So it was a little bit colder and maybe a little bit wetter than we were expecting. Our next stop was the Hepburn Distillery. This is a small distillery that's in the middle of town, down a little back alley. If you blink, you'd miss it. But it was very well set up. Had a nice bar area and heaps of gins and even a whiskey. The day that we went was the inaugural or first day release of their whiskey. Not a Scotch whiskey, but an Australian whiskey. It was very, very nice indeed. We decided to sample the whiskey, and Joe decided to sample 3 different gins, and we were perched up with a view over the distillery. It was actually quite nice, albeit a bit industrial, to actually see the gins being made down below in the factory area. Superb. So what have we here, Joe?
We've got 3 gins.
Yes.
We've got the premium, dry.
Right.
We've got one that is orangey, citrusy, and also cloudy.
Right.
And then we've got a Japanese.
Japanese. What are you going to do first?
I think I need to do them in order.
Premium first?
Premium.
Now, I'm the designated driver, so I've had my little bit of whiskey and that's all I can have. Interesting.
Well, you'll have to stay to the end to see what we buy.
Indeed. I've enjoyed this tasting, haven't you, Joe?
I'm still going.
Still going?
To a cycle round 1, 2, 3 again.
Okay. Well, you should have warmed up by now.
It certainly helps, doesn't it?
It does.
Cheers, everyone.
After driving for a couple of minutes, we'd arrived at our destination, the hotel we were staying at, the Peppers Mineral Springs Hotel in Hepburn Springs. was interesting because it was an old hotel that had been expanded and converted, retaining some of its old world charms. We booked dinner at the Argus dining room, but I don't think we probably need to book. The dining room wasn't full, and had a fantastic meal here. Oh, the light went off. Melt in your mouth. Really nice. Our main meals were great, and we just had to have some dessert. I had a fantastic almond cake, orange almond cake. I'm not really sure what Jo had, but I think she had a very nice dessert as well. We had booked this trip in the middle of school holidays, and one of the things that surprised us was there was a distinct lack of kids both in the resort and just around the towns more broadly. I guess Hepburn Springs is generally renowned for its mineral waters, spas, massages, so I think it's more of an adults or couples area rather than the kids area. It was quite cold and drizzly the next day, so we took our time and had a nice leisurely breakfast at the Argus dining room. I'll put a separate review of the Peppers Resort in a forthcoming video, and might leave it there. This is getting a bit long. I will do one or two other videos of our time at Hepburn Springs in the next couple of weeks. I do hope you've liked this video. If so, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Until our next video, take care and bye.